Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're diving into some source material that one of you shared. Someone grappling with what it really takes to grow as a leader in today's world. It's moving so fast, isn't it? The source for this deep dive is John C. Maxwell's book Leadershift: The 11 Essential Changes Every Leader Must Embrace. And it basically lays out these key transitions leaders need to make if they want to stay effective, maybe even become more effective. Our mission today, let's unpack the first few really foundational shifts he discusses. We want to pull out the most important nuggets, the insights that can help you on your own leadership journey. It definitely challenges some traditional thinking, gets right to the heart of impact. And honestly, there are some surprising things in here. I'm really curious to see what stands out as we explore this together. And as always, I'm joined by my fellow guide on this deep dive.
Hey there. It's great to be here, ready to dig into these ideas with you. This book really zeroes in on leadership not being static. It's a process, constant movement, evolution. And what's fascinating is how Maxwell frames these changes. They're not just little tweaks, they're like essential shifts in mindset and action.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this source material and see what these essential leaderships actually are. We're starting right at the beginning.
Right.
Why is change even necessary for leaders? Why now?
Well, the book kicks off pretty bluntly. Like right away, it says change or die.
Wow, okay. Dramatic.
Yeah, a bit. But it sets the stage, right? Leadership isn't static, especially now.
And the source points out, back in the, say, 70s and 80s, the big focus was management.
Right, management, which relies on stability, predictable inputs, giving predictable outputs.
Kind of linear thinking.
Yeah.
A leads to B.
Exactly. But the world changed. Life got faster, change became normal. And that's where leadership principles were really needed. Because leadership works in the face of the unknown. It involves people, complexities. It's an adaptive system, not just linear.
Right. People make things complex. And the pace, oh my goodness, the author uses this phrase, faster forward is shorter.
Yeah, the future just comes at you quicker now. It's not slowing down.
Think about technology, social media, just the rate of information. We have to move faster just to go forward, let alone get ahead.
And we need flexibility, agility, really. This source mentions Jack Be Nimble, but also this New York Times piece on cheetahs.
Cheetah, okay.
Yeah, and what's fascinating isn't just their top speed, which is incredible, obviously.
Right, like 60 miles an hour.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah.
But their average hunting speed is closer to 33. Their real advantage comes from their agility. They can leap sideways, change direction abruptly, slow down almost instant, like 9 miles per hour in a single stride. That's how they catch agile prey.
Ah, okay. So speed matters, but agility is the secret weapon for dealing with the unexpected twists. That makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
And forward is shorter. So long-range planning gets compressed.
Pretty much. The author jokes about a 10-year plan he made as a young man seems absurd now. Maybe a 2-year plan is long range today.
Because things change so fast.
Exactly. You can't just stick to the plan. You have to constantly change, reassess, change again. It's a cycle.
Which leads right into the definition of a leadership.
It's an ability and a willingness to make a leadership change that positively enhances growth, both for the organization and, for you personally. Adaptability is just crucial, like water molding to the pitcher.
That's different from conformity, right? The source mentions Dave Martin on this.
Yeah, big difference. Conformity is blending in, fear of rejection. It's actually a weakness. Adaptability is sensing the shift, adjusting course with confidence, trusting yourself.
Adaptable leaders lean into the uncertainty. They don't pull back.
Right. There's a quote from Paul Karofsky saying, ambiguity might keep people up nights. But that's exactly why leaders are needed. They provide direction by dealing with that uncertainty. If everything was clear, you wouldn't need much leadership.
So get comfortable with uncertainty. Be fluid, like that water analogy. It finds a way, makes a way. Sometimes gentle, sometimes forceful. And even a seemingly small shift can make a massive difference down the line.
That's the core idea. Every advance you make as a leader, every step forward, requires some kind of leadership. You can't just keep being, thinking, or acting the same way if you want success in a world that doesn't stay the same.
Right. Malcolm Gladwell's idea of using mental floss for old thinking comes up too.
Yeah, constantly updating your positions, even if it means contradicting yourself sometimes. That's growth.
And that Phillips Brooks quote is powerful too, about the sad day when someone is content and has no desire for something larger.
Leadershifting pushes us out of those comfort zones. It makes us question things, welcome change.
It's not easy, though, leaving behind what worked for something untested.
Definitely not easy, especially at first. There's always that tension. Stability versus adaptability, security versus opportunity.
You have to manage that tension.
You do. But learning how to leadershift, that's what makes you better.
So how do you get ready for it? The book lists 7 practices. We won't dive super deep into all 7 now, but they set the stage.
Right. They're like the warm-up. Things like continually learn, unlearn, relearn. Skills have a short shelf life now.
Value yesterday, but live in today. Yesterday's home run doesn't count today.
Rely on speed, but thrive on timing. That pair analogy waiting for that one perfect day.
See the big picture, but know it keeps getting bigger. Layered learning.
Live in today, but think about tomorrow. What you focus on expands.
Move forward courageously in uncertainty. Remember, uncertainty is why leaders exist. Action reduces fear.
And realize today's best won't meet tomorrow's challenges. That healthy dissatisfaction drives improvement. Best is the enemy of better.
Okay, so those practices underpin the shifts.
Precisely. They get you ready for the specific shifts, starting with, well, maybe the most fundamental one.
Which is?
The shift from soloist to conductor. The focus shift.
Ah, the focus shift. Soloist to conductor. The idea being, one is too small a number to achieve greatness.
Exactly. You can be a successful person alone, sure, but not a successful leader.
And this clicked for the author back in, 1974? Hearing Zig Ziglar?
Yeah, that quote. You can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want.
That must have been a lightning bolt moment.
Huge. He realized his focus was all wrong. He was acting like a soloist, wanting the orchestra, his team, to serve him.
To make him sound good.
Right. But he needed to be the conductor, focusing on bringing out the best in everyone else. His agenda had to shift from helping himself to helping others.
And the surprising part was?
That focusing on others actually increased everyone's energy, including his own.
Huh. Interesting.
He realized, yeah, it's nice when people help their leader, but it's way more powerful when the leader focuses on helping the people.
The book uses examples of actual musicians who made this shift, right?
Uh-huh.
Soloists becoming conductors.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah Chang, drawn to collaboration. Eric Jacobson, seeing the conductor as a catalyst. Gemma Nu, fascinated by how music unifies.
It highlights how different the roles are. Soloing is about you. Conducting is about the group, creating something bigger together.
Something potentially limitless.
Okay, so what are the real challenges here? Moving from that soloist mindset, the book lists a few realities.
Yeah, the first one is tough, going slower, so you can go farther.
Slower to go farther. Explain that.
Well, if you feel lonely at the top, it probably means you ran ahead and left your people behind.
Ah, you were a hiker, not a leader.
Exactly. Leaders have to travel with their people, even if it feels slower sometimes. It's like a dance.
The leadership dance.
Yeah, step ahead to lead, step aside to listen, step behind to encourage. It keeps you connected, energizes everyone. Healthy organizations are about everyone.
Okay, that makes sense. What's next?
Recognizing that you need others. This sounds obvious, but
it's easy to forget, especially if you're talented. A one-man band just can't sound like an orchestra. The author admits early on he mostly saw how people needed him. The shift was realizing how much he needed them for real collective success.
And that leads to creating a different kind of culture.
Right. A completing culture based on abundance, win-win, shared thinking, inclusion, instead of a competing culture based on scarcity, win-lose, exclusion. Completing means everyone wins.
Gotcha. What else?
Making the effort to understand others.
More than just needing them, actually understanding them.
Yes. A soloist might get away with ego if they're brilliant. A conductor has to understand people. The story about the grandson trying to lead the band just by blowing a whistle.
Yeah.
He liked the power, the whistle-happy part, but wasn't thinking about the individuals. The author admitted he was like that too, initially.
Just wanting people to follow his vision.
Right. Shifting meant really considering everyone's thoughts, desires, talents, journeys. The tango analogy is perfect here.
The tango. How so?
You can't lead the tango well without sensing your partner, understanding their perspective. It's about trust and moving together.
Okay, I like that. Understanding others. Next.
This one's big. Wanting others to shine more than you do.
Ooh, setting aside your own ego.
Totally. Like the tango leader sets up the follower to shine. Good conductors want their musicians to sound amazing. The author's mantra, before I say follow me, I find you. When I point to success, I point to you.
So it's intentional, seeing potential, honoring people, inviting them, noticing, thanking.
Exactly. Bringing those veteran coaches on stage wasn't about him, it was about highlighting them,
And the last reality,
helping others to become better every day.
taking the focus off yourself and onto their potential.
Mm-hmm. That story from Kiev is powerful. The interpreter didn't think the message of adding value would work because leaders there took value.
But shifting the definition of leadership to helping people.
It completely changed the perspective. In a pilot program in Ghana, students went from 95% not wanting to be leaders to 85% saying yes after understanding leadership this way.
Wow. So this whole shift is really about giving versus receiving.
Absolutely. The farming analogy sums it up. Sowing comes before reaping. The question becomes, have I sown seeds today? Not what I get today.
Are you adding value or taking value? Soloists focus on self. Conductors focus on others.
And that seed sowing mindset means being intentional. Look for opportunities to add value daily. Add as much as you can, as often as you can.
Because the amount sown determines the potential harvest. Stop wishing, start working. No magic bullet.
Right, just sow the seeds.
That lobster story is memorable too. James Crocker catching 125, giving away a 1 at 22.
Feeling great joy, then the last 3 spoil because the power goes out.
The lesson being,
You don't lose the seeds you sow. The only ones wasted are the ones you hoard, the ones you don't sow. What you keep, you lose. What you give away, you keep.
and don't wait to add value, right? Be the first.
Yes, people remember who helped them first. The author lists his early mentors being first, sets givers apart.
Give without keeping score. Avoid that tit-for-tat stuff.
Keep motives pure. Shift focus from return to recognition to just doing the right thing. Any day you give is a good day.
And if a return comes, see it as an unexpected blessing.
Exactly. The author found his focus on adding value brought back way more influence and impact than he could have planned or expected.
So the potential of a soloist is limited.
Definitely. To reach leadership potential and help others reach theirs, you have to make that shift to conductor. Focus on helping others be their best.
Making beautiful music together, as Matthew Kelly said.
That's the goal.
Okay, powerful stuff. Let's move to the next shift. Goals to growth. The personal development shift.
Great. The core idea, improving yourself, is the very first step to improving everything else around you.
And the author started very goal-oriented, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Clear goals. Help the congregation, grow the church to 500 people. He even bought a $799 goal-setting kit back then.
Which was a lot of money.
A huge amount. And he had a big goal, early fastest-growing church in Ohio, doubled attendance in a year, achieved his lifetime goal in his 20s.
But after the celebration,
He had that what's next feeling. And the big insight hit him.
which was,
The lessons learned, the person he became while chasing the goal that was more valuable than hitting the goal itself.
the shift from just goals to focusing on growth.
Exactly. Goals helped him do better. Growth helped him become better. Deeper satisfaction.
And achieving the goal actually opened the door to training others because he'd grown so much.
Precisely. His ongoing ability came from that relentless focus on personal growth.
And the book breaks this down into a few related shifts within the bigger goals to growth shift.
First, growth outward to growth inward.
Like the kid learning just for his parents versus intrinsic motivation.
Exactly. Real growth needs inward motivation. Growth on the inside fuels growth on the outside. External metrics alone aren't sustainable.
Okay. Then they're shifting from growth in everything to growth in a few vital things.
Yeah. Initially wanting to grow everywhere is just unfocused. He studied success, found keys like attitude, relationships.
But that wasn't enough.
No. The big one was realizing everything rises and falls on leadership. And then learning from failure, his first organization stalled after he left because he hadn't equipped anyone.
So that led to his focus areas, REAL.
Relationships, equipping, attitude, leadership, those became his vital few. He stresses that you need to figure out your vital areas.
Makes sense. And the third internal shift.
Growth with a timeline versus growth without a finish line.
Goals ask how long. Growth asks how far.
Right. Shift from thinking about what you're getting to who you're becoming. Fall in love with the journey of development, a journey that never really ends.
And this leads to different cultures, right? Goal-oriented versus growth-oriented.
Yeah, a clear contrast. Goal cultures value achievement, status, privilege, the teacher, arrival.
Growth cultures value development, stretching, serving the student, growth itself.
He works hard to build that growth culture.
The story about his book sales illustrates this perfectly.
His early goal for Think on These Things was matching Elmer Town's 110,000 sales.
But he replaced that number goal with just wanting to grow as an author.
And years later, gets recognized for selling 1 million books, having blown past the old goal without even tracking it.
Because the focus was on becoming better, not just hitting a number.
Exactly. Growth's highest reward is who you become.
Truett Cathy's quote fits here. If we get better, our customers will demand that we get bigger.
Getting better makes you bigger. Growth is sustainable. It's the only guarantee for a better tomorrow.
So how do you become that growth-oriented person? The book offers practices again.
Yep, 7 key ones. First, embrace change. Sounds simple, but
But growth is change. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset. You got to stretch. Like the granddaughter wanting 2 rubber bands.
right, no shortcuts. Second, adopt a teachable spirit.
Be open. Passion, intention, reflection, application. Like tending a garden daily.
Make growth priority, #1. Look for possibilities, ask questions, file what you learn, pass it on.
Third, make your love for learning greater than your fear of failure.
Learn from losses. Failure isn't failure if you learn. Make failure your friend. Fail early, often, forward.
That story about being told to speak afraid.
Yeah. Action reduces fear. He's not afraid of failing at something big, like transforming a nation, even if he won't see it finished. He's afraid of succeeding at something small.
Powerful perspective. Fourth,
Develop relationships with other growing people. Environment matters.
surround yourself with growth. The hot poker idea is stay close to the fire.
Conversations are catalysts. Fifth, develop greater humility.
Honesty about weaknesses, as Rick Warren said. Willing to admit wrong, wanting to be wiser.
Not threatened by others, willing to change habits, thinking. Admit wrong to find right.
Sixth, believe in yourself.
Crucial. Law of the mirror. See value in yourself to add value to others. Self-worth determines investment level.
Can't pour from an empty cup. The Bob Berg attorney story, you have to believe it yourself.
Paul Harvey, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. Authenticity matters.
And seventh,
Embrace layered learning. Wisdom isn't just facts, it's lived experience.
like Adlai Stevenson said about 50 versus 20.
Building one lesson on another takes time, intention, gives a bigger picture, a better picture.
Like rewriting 85% of his own book after 25 years because he'd grown.
Never stop getting better. Like C.S. Lewis's tree, adding rings, build on the past.
So the benefits are huge.
Oh.
Unlock potential, feel good, stronger values, humility, become more, do more, be an example.
It's that long-term mindset. Growth compounds. Your success never exceeds your development.
Which leads perfectly into the next shift, perks to price, the cost shift.
Yeah, this one hits home. What does leadership really cost?
Because many are drawn by the perks, right?
Hmm.
Control, authority, nicer office.
Better parking spot. The author admits feeling that early on, like the title, pastor, expected automatic followers.
The reality check came quickly.
Oh yeah. People were nice, but didn't just follow. He learned the law of E.F. Hutton. When the real leader speaks, people listen. Influence has to be earned.
Titles don't guarantee perks.
Not the important ones anyway. After 50 years, he says he's had all the perks, but they aren't the motivation.
The motivation is.
What he can do for others. It's about the price, not the perks.
And the questions leaders ask show the difference. Perks focus. What's in it for me?
Price focus. What can I give? How does this affect others? What must I give?
Focusing on perks is hollow. Leads to misusing people.
Right. Price is what stands between you and your potential. You have to pay up to be a better leader.
So what does that price look like? The book outlines 3 common aspects.
First, reality leaders recognize that everything worthwhile is uphill.
Max Dupree. Define reality first, and the reality of leadership potential is uphill.
All the way. No coasting, no accidental success. Nothing valuable is easy. You got to do hard things. Sacrifice is necessary.
So you have to prepare for that uphill climb. The Stockdale paradox comes in here.
Retain faith, you'll prevail and confront the brutal facts of no. Hope and hard.
Hope empowers the climb. Hard balances expectations.
Exactly. The author admits his early mistake was too much hope, not enough expectation of the hard. You got to prepare for the worst.
That Skyline Church relocation story is a vivid example.
Wow, yeah. Expected 4 years, $25. Took 13 years, over $36, and still ongoing.
Protected birds, water rights, opposition, permits, granite, earthquake codes. Just one thing after another.
A brutal season. Taught him to communicate the hard up front. Drucker said denying reality and turbulence is the real danger.
Be upfront about the cost.
The sooner you start climbing and paying, the higher you go.
Okay, face reality, second price point.
Example leaders acknowledge they must climb the hill first.
See before others, see more. But act before do more.
Yes, pay the price first, often pay more. That earns the moral authority to say, follow me.
Being first in tough times isn't a perk, it's a cost.
No elevator to the top. Someone has to find the path, set the example. Actions inspire, not titles.
And these follow-me leaders have common traits.
3 key ones related to before and more. First, they believe in themselves before and more than others do.
Again, that's self-belief. Can't give what you don't have.
That defense attorney story they didn't truly believe, so they weren't ready. Paul Harvey. If you don't live it, you don't believe it. Authentic belief, backed by action.
Second, they set expectations for themselves before and more than others do.
Exceed expectations. Do more than required. If you need others to set your standards, you're in trouble. Set your own bar high.
Live up to your potential for yourself.
Right. And third, they make commitments to themselves before and more than to others.
Commitment starts within. Integrity, responsibility, selflessness. Promise yourself you'll pay the price.
Like Lincoln, committed to the nation despite criticism. Ready, willing, committed to climbing first.
Climb first. Set the example, follow me. And there's one more quality.
Consistency leaders understand they never get to stop climbing.
Oof. No coasting ever.
Pretty much. He admits thinking he could earn shortcuts after paying dues. Destination disease.
Recognition without responsibility.
But you have to give up to go up and give up more to stay up? Perks hinder consistency? Back-to-back championships are rare for a reason?
Eisenhower. No victory at bargain basement prices. Higher levels demand a higher consistent price.
Jim Collins. Signature of mediocrity is chronic inconsistency. Corollary. Excellence is relentless consistency.
It takes work to sustain. The PGA golfer analogy, consistency wins. Bill Bradley's mentor, someone somewhere is practicing.
No off-season for leadership.
And consistency helps how?
Provides security for others. Your words, intentions, actions align. People can depend on you. Builds trust.
Establishes your reputation. Anyone can be good occasionally. Being good every time sets you apart. Leaders are watched. Consistency sets the tone.
Keeps you in the leadership game. No restarting. Constant progress. Morale stays high. Increases investment. Success becomes a habit.
And finally, consistency compounds.
Like Einstein and compound interest, consistency is the secret in leadership too.
Cal Ripken Jr., 2,632 consecutive games. Not the most talented, maybe, but unbelievably consistent.
Showed up, worked hard, played hurt, gave his best. For 16 years. The author feels that now people call him amazing. He feels experienced and consistent, seeing the compounding effect.
So the shift from perks to price means doing lots of amazing things daily.
Practicing, studying, showing up, working hard, asking, changing, trying, failing, trying again. That's the price.
Paid consistently, the result can be amazing.
Exactly.
Okay, final shift from our material today. Pleasing people to challenging people. The relational shift.
Ah, yes. This one's tricky. The core idea. You cannot lead people if you need people.
Ouch. And pleasing people isn't leading people.
Not the same thing at all. And this was a tough early lesson for the author. He was naturally liked, good at pleasing people.
Asking, is everybody happy? That was his gauge.
Yeah, he felt his leadership mojo was making everyone happy, and that made him happy.
But the reality.
You can never, ever make everyone happy. Trying is a setup for disappointment or failure.
He learned this the hard way. The painting story.
Removed an ugly painting, thought it was an improvement. Immediate backlash from the donors.
He realized he hadn't earned influence automatically.
Nope. He apologized, put it back, felt like a good leader again because they were happy with him, but he hadn't actually led.
Then the basketball game incident. Missed it for an emergency.
Coach and parents unhappy. He smoothed it over with parents, but the coach stayed mad.
So he worked hard just to please the coach. Visited him, attended extra games.
Yeah. It worked eventually, got the coach happy again, but this constant happy stuff, as he calls it, was exhausting. How could anyone keep that up?
For 2 years, he tried to make everyone happy.
Sincerely believed if his leadership was good, everyone would like him. If anyone didn't, his leadership must be wrong.
That belief drove everything.
What a mistake. No leader pleases everyone. He hit an emotional wall, felt like a bad leader, almost resigned.
Until some wise counsel stepped in.
Helped him see it was impossible, and, more importantly, he was doing things completely backward.
How so?
His goal was getting people to like him first, so he could then ask for commitment, if they said no.
He just tried harder to get them to like him more.
Exactly. Thinking that was the solution. And worse still, he.
And right there, that's where our source material cuts off for today. Right on that cliffhanger.
Leaving us hanging. But we've covered a lot of ground.
We really have. Why leaders must change in this fast world, shifting from soloist to conductor, focusing on others.
The huge value of prioritizing growth over just goals for the long haul.
Accepting the real price of leadership, not just chasing perks.
And starting to unpack that difficult shift from pleasing people to, presumably, challenging people.
These shifts, management to leadership, soloist to conductor, goals to growth, perks to price, and that start on pleasing versus challenging, they're really foundational, aren't they?
Absolutely. They challenge how we think about leadership and what it demands from us day in, day out.
Which leads to a question for you, our listener, to reflect on.
hmm Based on what we've talked about, which of these shifts feels most relevant or maybe most challenging for you right now?
Is it really embracing the need for constant change?
Letting go of needing to be the star soloist?
Prioritizing your own consistent growth?
Fully accepting the uphill price leadership requires?
Or maybe it's facing that relational shift, moving away from trying to please everyone, like we just started touching on.
Something to think about, because leadership isn't some comfortable place you just arrive at.
It's a continuous journey, a journey of change, contribution, and becoming. And that wraps up this deep dive into these essential leadership shifts. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We hope this exploration sparks some valuable insights for your own journey.
Thanks for listening. Visit our library and subscribe below for more book summaries. This has been a Sprint Reads production.